Got some of that. Welcome to the webinar tonight. Appreciate you guys being on with us for our Thursday night webinar of Be the Sniper or Be the Target. It is your choice. Make that choice today. And you've got me and Daryl on together here. So we're going to go through a couple things here. First of all, as always, got to get our disclosures here. Trading involves risk. Make sure you know what you are doing before you do it. You can take a minute to take a look at that there. And open house, guys. A lot of you are brand new, and a lot of you are in our current free open house boot camp. So we welcome you here to us, and glad to have you on board with us, trying everything out. Free boot camp is now till December 4th. So if you know anybody that is interested, spread the word. Friends, family, anyone that might be interested in checking it out. We're running till December the 4th here, and they can go to apexinvesting.com/apex open house. So good, John. Glad to have you on here. Some of you guys are here with us at Open House, saying loving it. We're loving having you here. We're loving having some great days in the trade room, doing these extra webinars each week, trying to get as much out to you here, help you learn and grow as much as possible during your free time here with us. So. Quick update. If you were in the room, you saw this, but once again, need you to go in and update to the most recent toolkit. What we did is
The, the only
go
the
ahead.
only update on the new toolkit is for ES, and so all you got to do is reload it, and that's not on the TA one, just on the basic sniper one. So the DTX was white. Some people were getting white detectors on there, so we fixed that so everybody gets red detectors.
Right. So all you got to do is upgrade your toolkit, and then when you open your workspace, your basic sniper template of ES, just right click on the chart, go down to templates, load, and find that template again and just reload up to the newest template there, and you'll be good to go. Correcting that color there. Okay. So
And then save your workspace.
yes, save your workspace as always under your normal procedures there. Okay. All you got to do is just update that template to the most recent template. So, and then go ahead and save it up. Okay. And for any of you that are wondering how to do that, real quick here, let me just go through a couple things I want to show you. If you're brand new here to the open house, once you log into the Apex website, you're going to want to go right here under the Sniper Bootcamp Open House tab. This tab here is where you're going to live for the next 30 days. Everything you need is right here. Okay, all of your training, how to set up Ninja, how to set up the charts and templates, how to get in the elite trading room, and so on. By the way, up top here, register for upcoming webinars. Next week's 2 webinars are already on here. So go ahead and get signed up for those and registered now. But what we were just talking about a second ago here under step number 3, right, where am I here? Right here, step 2, updating the toolkit to the latest version. This is a quick 36-second video to show you how to do that, what we were just talking about, in case you were not aware. Okay. Also, something I'm going to reference a couple times here. If you go down to step number 8 under webinars, and right here, D is webinar recordings, the most recent webinars. And I want to bring your attention to 3 webinars. First of all, this last one right here, the filtered TX trade made simple. This is the webinar we did a couple nights ago on Tuesday. All right. What we're doing tonight is kind of a continuation of that webinar. All right. Tonight's webinar kind of assumes that you've watched this webinar. If you haven't, you need to, because this really, we dive in and really explain behind the scenes and the practicality of what is the filtered TX trade, what makes it work, and the why. And tonight we're just kind of building upon that with a different trade setup. So you definitely have to know and understand the basic filtered TX trade. Okay, so if you haven't watched it or you weren't on the webinar, make sure to go back and watch this. All right, because like I said, tonight's webinar is going to kind of assume that you have. The other couple webinars that you definitely want to watch that are also part of the training course is these other two here, understanding levels on the sniper chart and understanding OP on the sniper chart, because this really digs into a lot of the things that we call obstructions, which are things that could be in the way, reasons why not to take a trade. And to really understand what those are and what's behind them, and to really get everything that we're covering tonight and on this last webinar, you need to have a good understanding of that. So make sure you go through the basic training course, but your very next step should be to hop in and watch these 3 webinars. And then the webinar we're on here tonight is being recorded as well, and that will be right here, okay, tomorrow. So these 3 are very, very important. And like I said, our webinar tonight is kind of part 2 of this one right here. So make sure you know where those are. It's right here under step number 8. Make sure you know where they are, and make sure to go back and watch those. They're very, very important. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about here, deeper understanding. Once you know where those recordings are, being able to understand those charts, know what these obstructions are all about. They kind of really set the foundation. Okay, and some of you want to jump way ahead and want to learn all these different trade setups and do all these different things, but you really have to understand the foundation. All right, and then be able to build on it from there. So this webinar kind of assumes you've watched those few and have that foundation, but if you don't, go back and make sure you understand that, because Tuesday night's webinar, or I'm sorry, it was Monday night, really dug into what was behind the TX trade, okay, which is the exhaustion boxes, like you see here, this green box at the bottom of this bar, and the trapped orders. That's what we mean by a TX trade, as you know. And we talked about and really explained in more detail what's behind them and why. It's not just a random indicator, not something crossing over to something else, but there's a reason behind the market. And I kind of talked about that a lot and explained, when you look at these number of contracts here that are coming in on the short side, and these number of contracts on the short side, and then you see this big massive pile of contracts coming in, and all of these retail traders jumping in to go short, okay, and then the market reverses the other way. And those are trapped there. And we've talked about how we've all been that person that's trapped, right? We've all seen the market start to move. We wait, we decide to jump in, and as soon as we jump in, it goes the other way. And we really wish we'd have been up here going that other way with the big boys instead of the one that was going against, right? And so I jumped in and explained that a lot more on Tuesday, so definitely watch that webinar and really understand more about that, okay? Because really explain the basics of what's behind the trapped Xbox trade, okay? So filtered TX trade, which is what we talked about Monday, versus the double TX trade. Tonight we're going to talk about the double TX trade, and they're almost the same trade. They're very similar, but there is a little bit higher probability with the double TX trades. Slightly different rules, just 1 or 2 differences. So make sure that you do go back and understand all those charts, and we're going to jump right into the double TX here. So step 1 of the sniper system is identify the target. Okay, and our target is looking for the standard TX trade in general is the trapped X box, okay, which is an exhaustion box, and inside the exhaustion box is the blue shaded area, which is trapped orders, okay? And we know that they're even stronger if they're coming off of a level, or even stronger if they have a paw or mini magnet on them, okay? But the pattern we want to identify here is the trapped X box setup on a reversal bar only, but we're calling this a double TX trade because what we're also wanting here is another TX at the same level. Okay, so in the past, looking to the left on the chart, we have, right in front of us, we have a TX trade setting up, but to the left of the chart in the past, there's been another TX trade at that same level or within 5 ticks of that level. Okay, and we do want to take it with the DR, the deviation reversal, with the DR color and in the direction of the trend. Okay, Now we can take these trades against the DR color if it's a ranging market, okay, meaning the markets are bouncing off the same levels top and bottom. It's a clearly defined range. Now, if you're new, and for those of you that are in open house, I wouldn't worry about that right now. Okay, that's a little more advanced. Just focus on going with the trend and with the DR color. Okay. Now, these are not something that you have to sit and look to the left of the chart all the time and try to measure how far back was this other TX trade. There are detectors for it. Okay, the detector does pop up and let you know. All right, there's audio alerts, there's alerts right on the chart, and it's a red solid detector helps you identify a potential DTX or double TX trade. So I just took some random shots here out of Daryl's training course, mainly because we like to look at Daryl's pretty face here on the screen.
Of course.
But you've seen some of these shots in the training course itself, the videos. And right here is what I'm talking about with the detector, okay? You know that the black detectors, okay, are just showing you anytime there's technically a reversal bar that has a TX on it. Doesn't mean they're valid trades, doesn't mean they meet all the rules, it's just letting you know it's there. Monday night, when we talked about the filtered TX trade, okay, meaning it's filtered with the color of the DR, those will show up with a green shade to them. The double TX trades that we're talking about tonight have the red shading behind them right here. Okay, so we look right here, we have a reversal bar with an exhaustion box with trapped order inside of it. Okay, so the bar itself, the setup itself, looks like the normal TX trade. Okay, but it's showing red here because right back here, and again you see it here, we also had another TX setup here within 5 ticks. So that's why it's called a double TX. Okay, and you can see here that we're going with the direction. Right here the DR is green. This is an up close bar. We can enter this trade and take it up. Okay, that's a double TX trade. That's what the detector will look like. So some of you that haven't gotten this far in the training that wondered, hey, what are those red shaded detectors that pop up? It's a double TX, and that's what it means. There's a TX trade. There was another one in the recent past here within 5 ticks. Okay, and for now, focus on taking it with the direction of the DR. Okay, once you learn a little more how to read markets and understand range bound, you
And
can
I'll
look
cover
at
range
taking
about
those.
something tonight too.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that in a nutshell is what it looks like. Okay, it's the basic setup. It's just like the filtered TX we covered the other night, but it's only there when there was another one close by within 5 ticks. Now notice here, this market is clearly trending down. Okay, we do not want to take DTX trades against the trend. Okay, if the market's trending, don't take them against the trend. Notice right here, you got a red shade detector pop up, and here was an up close bar with an exhaustion box and a trapped order. The reason it was a DTX because right here there was another TX trade. But this is an up close bar. You'd be going up. You'd be fighting the trend. And notice there you're glad you didn't, right? So just an example of what we mean by when you're trending, don't fight it. Don't fight the trend. Go with the color of the DR. We're only looking for shorts right here. When the DR is red, that's all we're looking for is shorts. Okay? Now the only time that would change is in a range-bound market. But again, you have to make sure you understand what a range-bound market is, how to read that, how to understand if you're at the top or bottom of that range. Okay? Here's one quick example, and I'll let Daryl cover more about that. You clearly have a top and bottom range here, right? And then down here where you do get your red detector and an up close bar, a double TX trade, that's one that could be taken because it's at the bottom of the range going up, or if there was one at the top of the range coming down. We don't want to take them in the middle of a range or at the bottom of the range, right? We want to have room to profit. But you always just take them with the trend direction, with the color of the DR in a trending market. Don't fight the trend there. Okay? So there's a couple examples of what the trades look like, a couple examples of what the detectors look like, and why you'd want to take certain trades with the trend or certain trades in a range. So why? What is the point? Why are we even showing you this? Because those trades just look like a regular filtered TX trade. They've got the trapped orders, they've got the exhaustion boxes. What makes these important? Well, when you do have a double TX trade, I mean, think about it like this. For those of you that have been on some of the other webinars last week where we talked about understanding the charts, or we talked about the order prints levels, do y'all remember, and I should have brought it over, do you remember what we talked about each level is important by itself and it's determined a certain way, and on its own it's important. But one single thing by itself doesn't always mean anything, right? Remember the picture I showed you of one layer of bricks, right? You can walk right over it. But then we talked about bricks stacked and stacked and stacked that made a wall. It's a little harder to get over, right? So in a sense, it's the same type of thought process here. Think about when you have a deviation level, then on top of it, you've got a stacked flux level, and then you've got something else. When there's layers that are built there at that level, it makes it even stronger, right? You guys agree? You understand? When one level is there, but then something else is there and something else is there, it builds on why that is so strong and powerful. Okay, so this is just another TX trade. What's the point of this webinar? What's the point of having a separate trade setup? What's the point of having a separate detector? Well, it's a higher probability trade. Okay, because not only is that trade set up on its own a high probability, but what happens when the market comes back to around that same level and does the same exact thing again?
Gives you exhaustion, gives you absorption,
Yeah,
all that at the same time. Same place, same price.
right. Like I say here, it's a double trap. It's a double exhaustion. It's a double absorption. It's a double rejection. You already have seen that the market reacted that way right there. You saw that a bunch of retail traders came in right there once, trying to push it one way or thinking it's going another way. And what happened? They got trapped and it went the other way. So an area that the market will react to from the same way a second time is a higher probability. Does that make sense? And we talk a lot about possibility versus probability. So the only reason we even have this trade named separately, shown separately, taught separately, and a separate detector is again just to give you a heads up of, hey, this happened once. Retail traders came in before, started trying to push the market one way. They came in heavy. The big boys came in and said, nope, we're rejecting that and we're pushing away. Well, hey, now the market's coming back down to that same area. So put yourself in the mindset of that retail trader, which you are, I am, we all are, right? How many times have you said, okay, the market's doing this, the market's doing that, it's gonna go down now, it's gonna go down now, and you sold. And as soon as you sold, because you saw this volume coming in and you sold, and boom, instantly the market went the other way. You were one of those trapped people, right? We've all been there. And the market went up and it did whatever. Then the market started coming back down to that same place again. And what did you tell yourself in your head? This is it. This time. Now it's going to break out. I was just wrong last time. See,
I was just too early.
I was just too early. I was right. I called it. I knew this was going to happen. I just didn't get it right the first time. So what do? You go in and do the same damn thing again. And you sell again right around in there because you're like, oh, it's going to break through this time. And then what happens? Boom. But you've done that, haven't you? You know, in the Mind Mastery course, Daryl talks about, emotions and,
Revenge trading.
Revenge trading. He talks about what you think the market's going to do. But then he also talks about step away. And it's like, okay, here's what I think the market's going to do. But then step away and say, what do I think 1,000 other people think the market's going to do right here, right? So we've all done it, right? We all tried it once and it failed. And then when it comes back close, we're just going to jump in again. We've been there, right? This isn't a hard concept to understand. It's not a hard concept to understand. Why do hundreds of traders pour in right there and create this trapped order setup? Because you've done it. And it's got to be this time. And you jump in and try it again right there at the same level. And again, the big boys say, no way. And they push it the other way. And we don't want to be those trapped people. We want to follow the big boys. We want to follow the smart money. So does that make sense why it is a higher probability and why it makes it stronger right there? Because of all those retailers with that mindset of, oh, I was just, like Daryl said, I was just early, but I'm right again. Let's go south again. Boom. So when you see that same trap setting up the second time, when you see that same exhaustion coming in that second time,
something you would never see without OP.
Ever. Never. If you're just using a blank naked chart, 5 minutes with some crossover EMAs or something, right? You have no idea what's going on. You have no idea what's behind the scenes. And you know, I was just watching a TV show about, you know, this girl walked right into a bear trap. And that's what you're doing. Trading without these apex order prints and the interpretation that our algorithm puts on it, you're walking blindly into that trap. And then you're going to come back and walk blindly into the trap again. Okay? So do you understand why this trade is different? It's not just another filtered TX. It's a double TX. The same thing happened at that same level. Another trap. Another taking advantage of people's emotions, because we've all done it. We've all said, oh, this is it. This time it's going to happen. I'm going to jump in again. And so that's why it can be a little higher probability trade, stacking those odds in your favor, and something we want you to be aware of to see that that's happening. And therefore, the detectors are there. Okay? So it's literally the same trade setup itself, the bar itself, and what it has in it. But we're just letting you see and know and be aware. Higher probability, possibly a little stronger trade, and the detectors show you that it's a DTX, a double TX trade. Okay? So when that trade setup happens, we talk a lot about knowing not just when to trade, what are the rules to enter a trade, but when not to trade. We talk about identifying obstructions. And this right here should be nothing new to any of you. Okay? This is the same exact obstructions that we have for the filtered trade. We don't trade into these 5 major levels. Okay? The deviation levels, the walls, stacks, a stack which is any 3 levels or a double mini magnet level, flux levels, or dynamic magnets. Now, if any of you, especially those of you that are newer or in open house, are like, hey, what are these levels? What is a deviation or wall or stack or flux or dynamic? There's 3 hours worth of webinars on what each one of these are. Okay? And it's in that recording section under section D there, step number 8, section D that I showed you. So those first 2 webinars of understanding the charts and understanding order prints, you have a deep understanding of what each one of these are. So go back and watch those, make sure you know what those are. But with this trade setup, if that setup happens, we don't trade into one of these levels here. Okay? We don't trade into a obstruction. We don't drive down the highway at 70 miles an hour heading straight into a concrete wall. We want to make sure there's clear open road between our entry and where we take our profit. Okay? Second steps or the second set of obstructions. Now, here's where the little bit of key difference comes in. The other webinar where we talked about the filtered TX trade, one of those rules is we cannot take a filtered TX trade when there's coil chop. Okay? The double TX trade here, That does not apply. Coil chop is okay. Coil chop is defined as, up, down, up, or down, up, down. Okay, 3 bars in a row of up, down, up, down, up, down. We don't take those with the filtered TX trade. With a double TX trade, coil chop is okay. So note that is a difference. That's one of the difference to the rules. Okay. Also here with the double TX trade, the double cluster is okay. All right. With the filtered TX trade, we don't take a trade if we have double clusters, meaning there's 2 clusters within 3 bars. We stay out of the trade. That rule does not apply here to the DTX. Okay. Now, one of the same rules that does apply is we don't want to take. Daryl, were you saying something?
No.
Okay. We do not want to take it in what we call 2 to 3 bar chop. Okay. So coil chop is when it's 3 bars in a row, like up, or down, up, down. What we call 2 to 3 bar chop is when it be, 2 or 3 bars up, 2 or 3 bars down, 2 or 3 bars up, 1 bar down, 2 or 3 bars up. We could be in a chop range there. We don't want to trade within that little bitty chop. Okay. We talked about later on when you learn to read the markets more, you can trade the double TXs in a range bound market. But when we talk about a range bound market, we are not talking about a 2 or 3 bars up range, 2 or 3 bars down range. That's not a range, that's chop. Okay. And when you do learn to read the market and start looking at trading ranges, the biggest thing you want to understand there is you have to have room to profit. If you're at the top of the range and you get a short, well, do you have enough room to profit between where you're entering and the bottom of the range? Meaning you don't want to enter short at the bottom of a range. You don't want to enter long at the top of a range. Just like buying at the top, selling at the bottom. You don't want to do that. Okay, but again, for now, focus on with the trend and with the color of the DR. So that is in general the trade setup. And then that's in general the rules of when not to take the trade. The entries are the same exact entry rules as on the filtered TX trade. Is we'd enter 1 tick above the high of the reversal bar for a long, or we enter 1 tick below the reversal bar for a short. Okay, and then once we're entered, our profit, we would exit at 2 bars close above the high on a long, or 2 bars close down below the low of a short. Okay, and then for our stop loss, the exit would be 1 tick below the low or 1 tick above the high. Okay, let me show you what we mean by that. This particular setup we showed here earlier, we've got our red detector, we've got our up close bar, we've got DR green. This bar has a trapped order with an exhaustion box. The bar closes up. Okay, we would enter the trade 1 tick above the close of this bar. So our order would be waiting right there 1 tick above the close of the bar. And what we'd be looking to do is be in the trade for this bar and then be out at the top of this bar. Okay, our stop would be a tick below the low of the bar. So this is our setup entry bar here. We're entering 1 tick above, our stop is 1 tick below, and we're looking to get out 2 bars later. Okay. If it's not, Jeff says it would not work, how long do you hold the trade? Well, Jeff, our stop is right there. Okay. All right. And your ATM strategy will handle all of that. If you just have your entry set 1 tick above the bar there, and you're using the ATM strategies like shown in the training course, your stop is put in place and your take profit is put in place automatically. Okay. Rob, these are diagnostic tick bars. These are not time-based bars. So they're based on movement of the market. They're not based on time. All right. If you go through the training course.
The reasoning behind that on diagnostic bars, I think an important thing to bring up is it makes sense that you have a new bar in your chart because the Earth rotated so many degrees. Because time is a measurement of the Earth rotating around the sun, right? So does it make any sense just to have a brand new bar just because time passed? and trying to read the market? In my opinion, is no, unless you're on a very small time frame, like 30 seconds. So that's why we use it based on market movement when reading order prints.
Yes, because also with order prints, if you started having a bar and then a minute later another bar and a minute later, if you start having these new bars just because, like Daryl said, the Earth rotated, well, each bar is going to show some order prints, and the next bar some order prints, the next bar some order print. All of those prints on the bar, on those different 3 or 4 bars, should have all been on one bar to actually calculate some of these formulas. You don't get a true sense of exactly, on a tick-based bar, you get a truer sense of exactly the price action or the volume action that happened at those prices, because you can see it all in one, and the market actually had to move past that. Okay, time-based bars are not nearly as accurate for reading behind the scenes magnifying glass order prints and truly understanding the volume and the fight there. They're just simply not. Okay, so one other key is, if there's a level, once you've entered, if there's a level within a couple ticks of your take profit, okay, it's wise to go ahead and just get out before that. Yes, the ATM will automatically set your take profit at the close of that second bar, but let's say there's a big level right there, right at the close of that bar. Don't risk giving up that whole trade just to try to gain that extra tick or two. Just get out a tick or two before that. Same with your stop. If your stop is 1 tick below or above that entry bar, but there's a big level right there, move it a tick or two to the other side of that big level. Okay, so that's identifying your cover. Okay, so these are primarily scalp only trades. We just go for those couple of bars. You can combine it later with simplicity for trailing the trades and try to get more out of it in longer trades. Once again, if you've not watched those webinar recordings, make sure to check those out. So that is a brief overview there of the basics of what a double TX trade is, why it works, why it's powerful, why it's a little higher probability, the basic rules of when to take a trade, and then the basic rules of when not to take a trade. So now I'm going to let Daryl take over and kind of walk you through a few trades on a live chart. How about that? All right, I will turn it over to you here, sir.
All right. Everybody see my screen okay? So I'm going to talk to you a lot about those range-bound trades. Give you a couple tips of things I've seen. You get a lot more double TXs on ES than you do anything else. There's a lot of double TXs that will go against the Rs. So if you do learn to read ranges, you will be able to get a lot more of those trades. Okay? And I'll show you some examples of those today. So, and I called these out in the room today. So go in. There we go. Okay. So I want to point something out on. Went too far. Arrow key. Okay. So right here we got a double TX, and you can see where that other ETX or that other exhaustion trapped X box was at right there, coming right off a dynamic magnet and a mini magnet. If you get this trade, and this is like I like to teach the extra tips, right? On the advanced, John he breaks it down and really does a good job making it understandable. Okay. And Albert says, so to break it down, we really need to study. Yes, you need to study everything. That's why I spent hundreds of hours making those videos. You'd just be surprised how many hours it takes. So looking at this trade, let me ask you a question that's a little bit off topic, but very on topic for any trade you take. Where do you think your stop should be on this double TX? Where do you think the best place to put it is located? There we go, below the mini magnet. Yes. So not just below the dynamic, but there's a mini magnet like just a couple ticks away. Put it below that mini magnet. Does that make sense? Right? That was an area that the market pushed off of. So your ATM is going to put it right here, but when it's that close, it's very wise to put it behind it. Okay? So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Now, are we in a range? We came down, we went up, we came back down again to the exact same point. Are we range bound? Yes. Okay. So we can take this range bound, right? We got 3 legs, down, up, down. Okay. So we take this trade, and it goes right against us. We're freaking out a little bit. Look what would happen if you did not put your stop behind that mini magnet. The third leg makes it a range. So you got 1, 2, and then on 3, you're at a range. Do you see why we put that stop behind the mini magnet now? You would have got knocked out by 1 tick. Who's ever been knocked out by a tick and then watch the market go right back in your favor? So you wouldn't have seen that importance of moving that stop loss below that mini magnet without order prints. Do you agree? I mean, would you have seen that level? Would you have paid attention to that? Or would you have just got knocked out and been pissed off? So this is why order points is so important, and this is why I live on it. This stuff, exactly. Now, you can actually double up on the trade if you wanted to. What just happened right here on this bar? What do we have? We got a triple TX. Right? It's our third one. Do you think we have a lot of exhaustion and trapped orders right at that point? A lot of probability in our favor. So now, I don't suggest you start off with this, but this is a trade where I would probably go in and add another contract on once it broke that high. But even if you just stayed with the same contract, you can have more confidence because you had another exhaustion, another trapped order. You don't have to add on. I'm just saying it adds a lot of confidence to the trade.
Especially when you have a mini magnet and a flux level sitting right there too.
Yeah, mini magnet, a flux, a dynamic. I mean, all that stuff was in your favor. It went right up to the dynamic magnet. So once it broke the high of the range after the double TX. Yeah, so once it breaks the high of the bar, the high of this bar, TA would have doubled the trade. Now, that's a good point to bring up, double TX. So you see a double TX, you go in and you click long. And the automated trade would trigger it if it comes up. And then if you had it on still, it would trigger a second one. Okay? So let's keep watching. Now what do we got? What just happened here? We had a quadruple TX within 5 ticks. So yeah, now if you leave it off, if it fills, it'll turn it off and you turn it back on, and it'll take it up. Yeah. I got SEM 101 selected. I'm okay. So right here, we got another one. By the way, are we at the bottom of the range still? Do we have room up here to the top of this range to take profit? And that's a winner. That's 3 trades in a row in 10 minutes this morning by reading the double TX.
Go home.
I called out 35 today.
Everyone else go
So not
home.
dumped. So let's see. Let's keep watching here. See how many more we get. You don't get a billion double TXs. Some days you get more than others.
And just a little
Okay.
warning here, Daryl, and I'll let you address it.
Yeah.
You guys are loving this, right? You're like, wow, that makes perfect sense. Man, I thought that filtered TX trade was the greatest holy grail thing I've ever seen. This makes even more sense when there's two of them there and that level there. And Daryl just showed there's three there. This is perfect. That's really stacking the odds in my favor. Well, that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do anything else, learn anything else, look at anything else. I'm just going to do these and these only. It's the newest shiny thing. Some of y'all said that Monday night about the filtered TX. And I know some of you are already thinking that now about this. And don't do that. This is just another, you know, just another play in the bag there. Okay. And they're not, it's not like there's a million of them all day, every day. So don't fall for that. I'll let you address it from there, but I know that's already coming into mind there.
Right. Some days you'll have one of these. Some days you'll have none. Some days you'll have 10. So what are the other colors on the detectors? Yellow is for elevators. Purple is for third bar swings. Blue is for startable volume for ZOI. So I go over each one of them inside the training. All right, so we came down, we came up to this level, this dynamic magnet. We came down, we came back up to this dynamic magnet. Are we ranging? Yeah. Okay, so can we take it? We have any obstructions, anything like that? We good to go? All right, there it goes. That one took off. Okay, so right here, came down, we came up, we came down to the same level. Are we ranging? Can we take it? Yes. And it wins by a long shot. Will all double TXs be range bound? No, but a lot of them will. And that's why I wanted to go over. I thought this day was a really great day. This is today, by the way. This isn't like cherry picked. It was a great day to go over it with you. Okay, so let's look at this again. I'm really trying to help you out with these range bounds because I think that's the hardest part. We came up again to a dynamic magnet. We came down. We came back up to dynamic magnet Nepal. Are we range bound? Do we have room from here to take profit? Yes, you do. You got two bars. 1, 2. So, of course, you need to have the short on to take the double TX. Now, if it happened to line up with the R and you had the filter TX at the same time, you get a double entry. We call that a 2 for 1. There it goes. See, it took profit before it even hit the level. Okay, here's another one. Are we range bound? Do we have room to hit or take profit? Ooh. There we go. Are y'all getting the range bound idea? And not all these were perfect, but hopefully it's getting across the idea. There's another one. Okay, let's look at this one. Here's a good one. We came down, came up to this, came down, came up higher. Is that a range? Or are we trending up with the price action? Yeah, we're trending up. We made a higher high. We haven't really bounced. It didn't here. Now, if it would have bounced down here and came back up, we could have called it a range, but it didn't even count. I mean, it like just literally had like a 1 bar reversal and kept going. What else is it? We got 3 bars, 2 bar, 1 bar, 2 bars. It's almost like 2 3-bar chop. It's against DR because remember, DR has to match on that bar and the bar before. These indicators, everything except for the automated trader is available for all levels of subscription. So you turn the short off because it doesn't line up with the trend. And it also isn't in a range. And you would have avoided that trade. That just happened about 30 minutes ago. All right, do y'all want me to go back and do a few more from previous days? Okay, because we covered the day. Today had a lot of them. Let's just scroll back here.
One quick note. A minute ago when Daryl said, hey, this isn't cherry pick, this is today. Do you remember on Monday when he took over showing a review of the trades we were teaching? He said the literal same thing. This isn't cherry pick, this is today. Like
yeah, we like to
both nights,
keep
both
it real.
days. Yeah.
I guess we can look at that one. We got a couple on the screen here. There you go. Okay, so what do we have here? What's going on? Would we take this trade? It's with DR, but it has what? 2 3-bar chop. 2 bars up, 3 bars down. It has just enough room to go to the top of the range, but it's 2 bars up, 3 bars down. It would have worked, but it was a 50-50. All right, this one right here. We're sort of looking range bound. And I want to show you these. I'm trying to show you some losers too, because I don't want you to feel like every trade wins. But what do you feel about this trade? It's a range. Yep. Now, here's the one thing I don't like about it. Okay. Remember all those other range bound trades I showed you? We had like a mini magnet going across. Yeah, you got a Paul, you had a dime, you had a level. Remember that? On the ones we just went over? We don't have that here. We got 2 Pauls in our way. So we're going into we just went through 1 Paul. We got 2 more Pauls in the way. So we got almost a stack right there in the way of taking profit. And we don't have a level. The triangle paints on top of the diamond. That's why you see a diamond. So it's against DR. It's with the range, but there's no level for it to bounce off of. And we're going into a bit of a stack there with a couple Pauls. It does end up working out if you had your stop far enough away, but it would have been nice if we would have had a mini magnet down there to tell us to put it there. We didn't have one. Okay. So do y'all see how I like using those levels to help me with my ranges? A stack is when you have 3 levels, 2 mini magnets, and you can even count 2 Pauls as a stack. 3 of anything, 2 mini magnets, 2 Pauls. All right, what do we got right here? Yeah, the coil chop's okay, but we're in the 4th bar of coil chop. I don't mind 3 bars, but not 4. 3 bars is okay. 4 bars is not okay. The way you determine within 5 ticks is by the red indicator at the bottom of the chart. It automatically does the calculation for you. So what else do you have that's a problem? Is there anything else y'all can see on this chart that's an issue? One person got it already. Keep going. Your entry technically would be above the dev. Think yellow. There you go. So Cameron got it first. TZ got it second. What do y'all see? What are the 2 yellow things called? Double clusters. Do we like double clusters on TX trades? Or on filter TX and double TX trades? Do we like those? What do they signify is going to happen? Chop. And are we already seeing that chop before we even take the trade? So we're 4 bars in. Remember, I said I like 3 bar clusters. We got 4 bars in, and we got a warning on double clusters. Now, I'm not always against double clusters, but when I got 4 bars and double clusters, I'm going to be cautious. Does that make sense? I'm trying to help y'all. Like I said, I take it to another level of thinking about just what makes sense. Four bars, we got down, up, down, up. So there's a combo of double clusters and 4 bars of coil chop. And it goes down again. Yeah, oh, that's a good point too, Paul. Like, look at DR. What did I teach you last week about DR when it's really low? It doesn't go. Remember, DR is like a rubber band, right? It's lost all of it, like a rubber band that's come all the way back. There's no more stretch. There's no more pop. So now we got low, like super low DR. We got coil chop by 4 bars, not just 3, but 4 bars. 3's okay, 4's not. And we got double clusters. So would you say there's a lot of, I have no idea what's going to happen here going on? Like, do you feel confident about the trade? Yeah, it feels like a roll of the dice, a 50-50. And after it goes down, it does happen to go up, but not enough. Does this help me going through the thought process of like what I'm thinking when this all happens? Okay, so here we go. We got down, up, down. We just came off a paw. We laid a paw. We got a mini magnet. We're coming under a deviation. We broke through 2 dynamic magnets. It's also an ETX trade. Good call, Paul. So it's not going with the trend, but is that a range bound? And it's an ETX. What do ETXs often do? They often break levels. An ETX, which we'll go over in a couple weeks, is when you have a trapped X box with a PAR mini magnet within 2 ticks of another PAR mini magnet, ZOI, or iBlock. So it's bouncing off of a very strong level, and it's an ETX. That's in our favor. And it's range. So there's no wall there. There's a dynamic magnet there, but again, ETXs often break through them. So yeah, down, up, down. It goes right up to that level. And so where would you want to have taken profit on the trade? Who can tell me that? That is a stack in the way. That's very good. There's a dynamic magnet. So where would your take profit have been if you took the trade? You would have had it right before the dynamic magnet. It's like right there, pop. And you may have chosen, if it's not close enough to your take profit, you may go, I'm only going to get 7 ticks or 6 ticks on this. I won't take it. That's up to you. But a lot of y'all did a really good job at identifying there's a dynamic magnet in the way, and usually ETXs break through levels. But did we have just one level there, or did we have 3 levels there? And that's one thing that I don't know if you can see very well. How many levels are right here? It has to get like right below this to take profit. How many levels do we have? We have a paw, we have an eye block, and we have a dynamic magnet. Now, what is that called? A stack. So if you're going to take the trade, which means you're going to take it for much less profit, you're going to have to take it before the stack. Do y'all agree with that? I want you to be looking out for stacks. Now, it did happen to pop down, and that might have been 8 ticks. I don't know. Let's see here. Low, 3,325. Low, 32, 3098. Yeah, it actually went down 8 ticks. It actually hit its take profit to the tick. So if you were looking at everything I was looking at, it was an ETX. Coming off a level, it was range bound. It did hit it, but it had to go through the stack. So just to get a general consensus, and I'm trying to like show you, here's some good things about the trade, here's some bad things about the trade. What do y'all feel overall, even though the trade worked? How do y'all feel overall about that trade? Weak, because it was going into a stack. So it had a couple things in its favor, but became a lot more of a possibility. Would everybody agree with that? And it's almost hard to see that stack because that paw is just like right there on top of that eye block. So the trade did work, but it was a possibility trade. Or it was a cut your profits pretty short trade by taking them off right there. Okay, let's look at this. Market looks like it's trending down to me. It's making lower highs and lower lows. Do y'all agree? And it's going into a stack. It's got a dev level and 2 paws. It works, but it was a possibility trade. So we pass. Now, what about up here? We're going into a stack again. We're at the top of a range, but we're still going into a stack again. And TZ, I think that's a good answer. Not sure. If you're not sure, what should you do? When in doubt, stay out. Okay? It's probably going to work out, but there's a lot going against you on that trade. This is very range bound. That's why I figured it probably would work. Okay, what do we got here? Two 3-bar chop. There you go. Is it okay to not be sure about a trade and it win? Yes. You have to be okay with that. There will be plenty more. It's like fishing. It's okay if you get a bite and you don't get it. You just throw it back in there. There's another fish.
Some of these ones we say, hey, this didn't meet the rules. 50% of them, they would end up winning. Others we say, up, didn't meet the rules, so don't take it. Those 50% did win. It's 50-50. What do you call that? Possibility or probability? It's a possibility. I'm fine if half of them don't work and I just didn't take any of them because I'm looking for better than that.
Well, I'm back several days, so that's probably why yours doesn't look the same as mine, Bus. Remember, we're only going for 3 good trades a day, so pick the ones that you're confident in. And as traders, are we really good about remembering the winners but not remembering the losers? Does anybody else have that problem, or is it just me? Man, I missed that one. Man, I missed that one. But you don't remember all those losses that you missed out on. So remember, when you miss out on a winner that was a possibility trade, there's an equal number of ones you missed out on that were losers. All right, what do we got up here? Do we take this trade? Why not? Going into a stack. We got ice, we got iZone, we got 2 dynamic magnets in the way. That one lost. Good thing we didn't take it. What do we got right here? Two 3-bar chop. So we don't take it. It won. Remember that last one lost. There's other ones that we've avoided that have lost. Guys, this makes all the difference being focused on probabilities versus possibilities. Okay, what do we got right here? Yeah, you'll definitely lose if you take 50-50 trades with scalping. Going into a dynamic magnet. So do we take the trade? Is it worth it? You could probably justify a range bound on it, but it's into a dynamic magnet. It just laid a new mini magnet. It's not coming off a level. We're getting pretty close to 10. All right, what do we got right here? You taking that into that strong trend? Nope, me neither. May have worked, but I'm not taking it. What about right here? DR is pumping up. There's no justification at all for that trade, is there? No range, there's no nothing. So we don't take it, and we're glad we didn't. All right, what about this one right here? We got up, down off the wall, up, coming off the dynamic magnet. We only got one level in our way. DR is pretty weak, but all right, so you take it. All right, that one wins. What about here? We're at the bottom of the range. Going up, taking profit pretty much at the dynamic magnet. Coming off of the wall. So we take it, and we win. All right? Okay, did y'all pick up some cool stuff tonight? Did y'all learn a few lessons beyond the basic video? Do you understand why these are so powerful trades? But at the same time, do you understand how absolutely important it is that you look at instructions and levels? That they literally make or break these trades for you? So, and hopefully one of the cool things you saw is that there was probably more trades that won that we didn't take than there was losses that we didn't. But we constantly won our trade because we were watching. No, I wouldn't offset my entry. D. All right, so y'all like this tag team trading of me and John? Y'all liking this?
Well, good. And the whole point and the whole title of these last two webinars was simplifying it. I mean, you definitely got to go watch the basic training videos and the step-by-step training videos. But when we go back through it just one more time, let's reaffirm the basic rules, reaffirm the basic when to enter, reaffirm the basic when not to enter. Cool. Now let's go through and have Daryl show you. Like that really helps you. You see everything again, and then you see it put into practice. Like, okay, now I can get it. You know what I mean? It's like teenager can sit in driver's ed forever, but without getting behind that wheel, you know what I mean? And starting to practice and see it put into practicality use, then it starts to become second nature and you start really being able to look at it. But, you know, the one big thing I want to drive home, and I said it on the webinars last week when we went over the charts, is especially for those of you that are in open house joining us, you know, just a question for you. I don't know what you were trading before you came to Apex. I don't know what strategy or system you were using. I don't know what charts or indicators you were using. But as a newbie that's just been with us like 2 weeks, just what you've learned already in 2 weeks, can you ever see yourself trading any strategy or system or any chart or anything now without order prints? I mean, could you ever do it? It should scare the hell out of you. Like, excuse my language, but it should scare the hell out of you to ever think about ever pressing a button with live money without seeing this. Yeah, exactly, because you're just blind. You're flying blind. And it just shows you so much. That's why we always refer to it as true vision and the magnifying glass to see what's going on. Where is that fight? Where is that exhaustion? Where is that absorption? Where are those hidden levels that no one else can see on a naked chart? So I hope you're really seeing that, because that is the power of Apex, and that is the power of the sniper system, is that true vision.
And then somebody said that they didn't know what pause were and stuff like that. Again, it's under understanding the charts. We also covered that in last week's webinar, or 2 weeks ago's webinars. Last week's webinars.
Yeah, last Thursday's webinar,
But
understanding
it's also
order prints.
but understanding the charts is actually before the setup video. So make sure you watch the understanding the charts so you know what the terms are that we're referring to. Okay. All right. Well, I hope y'all got a lot out of this. And if you did, go back and watch the webinars from last week and the one from Monday. And we got 2 more scheduled for next week. We're going to go over a couple of my favorite trades and John's favorite trades, the HD hidden divergence trade and the oscillation detector divergence trade.
Yep.
All right. Well, if y'all, let's see here. Do you recommend new Apex users to get the TA up front? First, I recommend that you learn the setups, but as soon as you learn the first setup, you can get the TA. As soon as you know the first setup, because you don't have to use all 6 setups. So once you know filtered, you can use filtered, and then once you know double TX, you can use double TX. And so as soon as you got that first setup down, you can get the TA. Yeah, I'll go over the program specials again. Let me see here. I got to log into the site.
And while Daryl's pulling that up, tonight's Thursday night. Make sure to hop in tomorrow morning, be in the Elite Trade Room. Y'all heard how much Daryl rocked it in there this morning. Make sure you're in there tomorrow. And then we're going in the weekend here, guys. It's the perfect time to go back through and watch these video recordings, watch these webinar recordings, go back in and check out some of the, training videos of the step by step, all the different trade setups. Like, it's a perfect time going into the weekend here to really review this and be ready to rock it next week in the room.
Oh, one bonus thing I want to let you know. Anybody ever wonder what these red blocks are? Has anybody had that question before? The TA does not recognize chop. It does recognize DR. I turn on the TA when it appears. It's leading volume, and it will become trapped orders if the bar closes in the other direction. So it gives you a heads up that trapped orders may be coming if the bar reverses. Yeah, the TA is the automated trading system. It's the trade assistant. It's this thing at the top of the chart. All right, so a couple things. There's two links you should be aware of. One of them is the Elite Plan comparison page. And the other one is sign up for any plan or product page. So this has our normal pricing on it, okay? It's discounted right now. But this goes over with the silver and gold. Gold has more indicators. It has more setups called Apex Power Trading, and it has simplicity. And then you can choose lifetime for silver, gold, titanium, or platinum. And titanium and platinum come with one-on-ones. They also come with access to or discounts to the course, to the live events. So you can check those out. And right now you can get platinum for titanium, titanium for gold, and gold for silver. Some of you are wanting to get access, if I'm right, you're wanting to get access to, why is it making me log into this page? If you sign up for it now, and let's say you still have free time available, we'll give you that free time. So if you have, say, like 2 weeks available still, and you sign up for gold, all you got to do is submit a ticket and say, I signed up for the gold package. And again, you get gold for silver pricing right now. So you get all the Apex Power Trading, and you get the simplicity trades and some other indicators as well. But let me see here. Sign up. I don't know what it's going to show on mine, but it'll show you basically gold is $200 instead of the normal $300. There's a package where you can get 4 months of gold, which is usually $1,200 for only $600, and then $200 a month after that. So you get a free month. And then we also have the platinum for titanium, titanium for gold, gold for silver lifetime plans. So check those out. See which one works best for you. But most people go with our gold plan, and a lot of people go with the lifetime or the monthly. But we have quite a few that go with the 4 months of gold for $600 because they get that extra month free. And then it's only $200 a month after that. You can do APT off of the sniper charts. So, but does that make sense? Like if you sign up for gold before your subscription, your free time expires, and let's say you have the $1 60 days, okay? So maybe you actually have 6 weeks left. We'll add 6 weeks to your thing if you submit that inside the help desk. APT is for Apex Power Trading. It's another level of setups that we offer. So, but those are the biggest discounts that we offer, period, and they expire here on December 5th. But you don't have to wait to sign up. You can sign up now and still get your free time added on. Okay? I also want to remind everybody, I will be giving away next week another free month of gold based on interaction on Facebook. You got to be on the page and the group, not just the group, page and the group. And you got to be sharing posts. People who share post on the page, every share will count as a chance to win a free month. I gave away a free month last week. I'm going to do another one next week. Okay? All right. Well, that wraps it up for the night. I hope everybody really enjoyed the webinar. And I think Corey Anderson, if that's right. Corey, I think his last name was Anderson, won last week. Oh, you just asked me. Yeah, Corey just asked me that question. That's funny. But yeah, y'all have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow in the trading room. And make sure to register for next week's webinars. All right. Y'all have a good night.
Take care, guys. Good night.